Good morning. I'm Anna Marie De La Vega. This is Focus. Thank you for joining us today. We hear from another of the American Cancer Society's Faces of Hope, Courtney Lewis. Welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So as we were hearing from the other two ladies, you were like, me too. I was diagnosed at a very young age. Would you share your story with us now?
Absolutely. So I was diagnosed in August of 2022. I was 26 years old at the time. So that was quite the shock.
Yeah.
You never expect to be told that you have cancer anyways, but especially not at 26 years old.
Yeah.
And I have a few women in my family who've had breast cancer, but it's not genetic. So that was an even bigger, almost slap to the face that it was just like, unfortunately, you've been dealt this hand at a very, very young age, and we can't really tell you why or for what reason. So it was really hard to accept, but I was able to find the lump myself and was very proactive about it. I went in and saw doctors right away, scheduled mammograms, biopsies to make sure that even though I didn't have the BRCA gene,
Which
we
is
did
the hereditary.
everything. Yes, we did everything that we could to make sure we figured out if it was cancer or not, and then what we did if it was. And unfortunately, it turned out to be cancer, but at least I knew and then made a plan to take it head on.
So the reason we're talking to Courtney and these other ladies that we spoke to last Focus is they are faces of hope to remind you that cancer is not the death sentence it used to be, basically. That there is hope, there are survivors, and we're doing better and better, but cancer is still a leading cause of death for women,
Yes.
the second leading overall, and first leading cause of death for women of color. Holy cow.
Yes.
We can do better. And that's what we're trying to do, reminding you about making strides against breast cancer and supporting the American Cancer Society. So where did the American Cancer Society come in your journey? Was it later on, or did somebody put you in touch then?
They didn't then. I wasn't aware of it, and I wish I was, because it's a great organization anyways. But the support that they give to not only survivors, but also patients that are on their journey right now, like Nicole mentioned, giving rides to people for chemo and access to support systems through that, I would love to have had. Thankfully, I had a great family support system, but I actually did the Making Strides walk in October of 2023 after I'd found out that I was in remission and was able to, felt really good about doing the walk. And so that's how I really got involved. And then I was nominated this year to be a Face of Hope. And so now I get to be even more directly involved with not only the American Cancer Society, but also the Making Strides walk here in Nashville.
I feel like we may need to talk to some doctors. We need to talk to some doctors' offices. Like if you had gotten that when you got your diagnosis, that might have made things easier for you.
And there's a lot more, I think, now options for people or ways that they can help. And it's because of people that donate and people that come and do the walk with us. Yeah. So it's a really important initiative to push, and also just to help people that are going through something so difficult.
And I'm not putting doctors on blast at all, because they're doing what they do and they save lives. They save lives, pure and simple. But that's the kind of work that the American Cancer Society is doing, is to spread the word. That's why we're doing this interview today. So all of the services that the American Cancer Society offers and the help that they give, you could have used that if you'd known about it, but also you had support. This is why we want to spread the word, because not everybody has that support system.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What did you do when how did you find out? Like, you're like, I feel like this might be something.
Yeah.
And then tell us how that's part of the story went, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I could not fall asleep one night. It was a really hot summer night. We had the windows open for whatever reason. Was trying to get comfortable and thought, what better time to do kind of a mini self-breast exam. Again, I was so young that it wasn't something that I thought would lead to anything, but better to be proactive. And like I said, I felt a lump, and you almost convince yourself that it's not something to be concerned about, or maybe your brain is just playing tricks on you. Yeah. So the next morning I woke up and called my OBGYN office just to be safe, because, better safe than sorry. Yeah. They were able to get me in almost immediately, which was incredible. I think I saw her 2 or 3 days later, just did an exam with her, and kind of to make me feel better or alleviate some of that anxiety, we decided that doing an ultrasound would be a really good idea, just to get all the stress and all the nervousness out of the way,
Right.
and make sure we knew, as much as possible that it was not cancer. Kind of similar to Dominique saying, I had an intuition and I almost knew that it was going to be something of concern, but you never want to think that way. You're trying to be positive. But so then when I did the ultrasound, they immediately brought in the ultrasound doctor and wanted to do a mammogram. And so we did a mammogram, and then the doctor came in a second time and did actually an ultrasound herself in the room.
Yeah.
And that's when they basically sat me down and said, we can't be 100% sure. You'll have to do a biopsy, but it looks to be cancer. So we're going to schedule you for a biopsy. You'll come back in next week. We'll do that. And then the radiologist will basically tell you yes or no. And I've always told people I'm so thankful for that young doctor who told me that it looked like something to be concerned of, because that allowed me to start getting in the mindset of, when I hear this, how am I going to handle it and what am I going to do and how am I going to be strong and get myself through this, knowing that, I'm really young. I was just getting ready to get married and engaged. So I'm so thankful that she was forward with me. As hard as it was to hear that, I could start to process it before really needing to dive headfirst into treatment and things like that. I was able to be more receptive of the information moving forward. And so when they called me a few weeks later and said, surprisingly, it is cancer, we're going to get you in with an oncologist, it was still heartbreaking. It was still a horrible thing to hear, but I had the time to sit with it and already know, okay, next thing we do is we meet with the oncologist team. We meet with a breast surgeon. I can start getting into the steps of what I need to do to take care of myself and get rid of this cancer. And it also allowed me to tell my family a little bit more easy, just because I had information, as opposed to saying, I'm not really sure if this is what it is.
Right.
Let's be alarmed or let's not. So the transition to getting support from my family and figuring out a plan for all of us on who was going to help do what and how could everybody be there for me, it really just made all the difference, kind of going into it knowing that it was a possibility.
So, Courtney, you said you were engaged.
Just about to be
engaged. So what did you tell your fiance to be?
He was the first person I told, of course. We lived together. And so, it was so important for me to tell him because there's so many unknowns. And I knew he would be the best support that I had. And he comes from a medical background in college. So I also was like, maybe you can help me understand some of this that they're talking about because it's a lot of information. And so I sat him down and I just said, look, I did a biopsy last week because I kept it to myself because I didn't want to freak anybody out.
I wondered,
Yeah. And so I said, look, I had a biopsy last week. They don't know for sure, but they think it looks like it could be breast cancer. They will call me sometime later this week to let me know. I just need to tell you because I need somebody else to take this on with me or just hold this with me. Whoa. And he's the sweetest. But the first thing he said was, well, should we just go get married and you can be on my insurance plan and we can take care of it. And so we ended up getting married last year in June. But he was incredibly supportive and not only taking care of me when I was so sick from the chemo and different treatments, but being there to help me get it logically in my head on how we were going to tackle it. I cannot be more thankful for that. And then he helped me tell my family and tell his family and handle some of that stuff that I didn't really need to be taking on. And he could just do for me while I focused on getting my health straightened out.
Now, I don't want to interrupt your interview, but did you ladies have somebody to help do that? Somebody to help break news and all of that? Or did you have to take that on yourselves? Because we still have our other guests in the room. Okay, Nicole, did you do it on your own? Did you have someone I like the way you put that, Courtney, take it on with you? Let's take this on together.
I did. I told all of my brothers and sisters and my in-laws, but he actually told the church because he's a pastor, and he told the church because he didn't want the church bothering me during this process. So he took that part on.
So that helped to have somebody to deal with some of the stuff that comes along with it.
Yeah.
And let you stay focused on your health.
Yeah.
So Dominique, what about you?
So I told everybody I did most of the telling. The other thing I did was set up what they call is like a care site, which gave people, instead of having to, once I told everybody, instead of having to go around and keep people updated, I was able to post what was going on to that site and gave people access to that so that they could be, just in the loop with what was going on with me. And I didn't have to, I could type it once instead of having to, set up group text and stuff like that. I could type it once, let people know what was going on and allow them to support me from there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people who have just various things going on in their lives that they could set up like that. Is it a specific website or?
It is, and I hate to say right now, I don't remember the name. It was actually recommended to me by someone.
Is it Caring Bridge, possibly?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I believe it actually is. I believe that's absolutely it. But I set that up, and I had everybody's between text messages and emails. I sent people, the link and just let them know, hey, this is how you can keep track of, just what's going on and just know, just where I'm at with things.
That's very good.
And that way I didn't have to, like I said, it was literally a matter of, going in, and I tried to do it kind of en masse. So maybe I would, put in everything that's happening in the month of July as it related to my journey.
Right.
And then people could absolutely, so that way people would have the information.
Do you still have that site? Do you ever look back on it and go like, whew?
I probably do, and I probably should, because I haven't looked at it since way back. I probably hadn't looked at it in years at this point.
That's probably good, because you're living now. You're living in the now,
mm-hmm.
and you're looking forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank
mm-hmm.
you. So you had fiance
Mm-hmm.
to help with that part of the,
Yes.
let everybody know this and help break it to the family and things like that. And then what did you do? What did you start like changing your lifestyle, and what happened with your treatment?
Yeah. So
At 26.
Yes, at 26, it was a shock what I needed to do. I will say that first probably 6 weeks after diagnosis was a complete whirlwind. It was just getting as much information as we can, what my treatment plan is going to look like, and then how we kind of go from there, what I could do to help myself going through all of this. Because I ended up doing 6 rounds of chemo, and then I did some immunotherapy in addition to that. I also did the double mastectomy just because, like Dominique said, my breast surgeon just recommended that we consider it because of the increased risk if I didn't have both breasts removed of it coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, of course, I never want to go through again. So after that surgery, I did reconstructive surgery as well. But that was really, luckily, the kind of the end of my treatment journey. Now I'm in more of a management phase, and let's just make sure that these first 5 years, we do everything we can to make sure it doesn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
So once we knew and looked at the timeline of what my plan was, I really just kind of put my head down and said, I had like 5 months we mapped out of active treatment and then a surgery. So we just kind of said, all of us, reminding each other that, we get through this 5 months, then we'd stop and we know that we fought this thing as hard as we could. And then we move on after that. Let's just get through this and really tackle it. And I came out on the other side, and now I'm 2.5 years in remission, thankfully.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So diagnosed with breast cancer at 26, did you have a thought that might affect like having kids, or what did you think about like?
It's definitely a concern, just because my cancer specifically was hormone based, which can affect things later on when it comes time for having kids. But also, I was so young and I don't have any children. I didn't have any at the time either. So we decided to not put me through the fertility egg freezing treatment, because we wanted to just focus on fighting the cancer. And then just my husband now and I are both on terms that if it happens naturally in the future, it happens, and that would be amazing. If not, we wanted to know that I didn't put any extra stress on my body when trying to get ready for chemo treatment. So it's still a concern. It was definitely a concern being so young, but I think I just kind of made my peace with it, that if I can just beat this cancer, if that's something that, God willing, happens later in life, then so be it. If not, at least, I knew that I could take on the cancer fully.
That's a good way to put it. I think what I'm hearing from all of you ladies, and what I've heard before from people who are breast cancer survivors and faces of hope in their own way, is that all the superficial stuff falls away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dominique had a little bit harder time with her hair, but
that is hard.
You made it fall away. You're like, okay, I'm going to have to get past this. And I didn't mean to say falls away with the hair. I'm so sorry. That was not right. But all the superficial stuff,
Yeah.
you realize it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is you need to stay alive
Absolutely.
for any of the rest to matter.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay alive for you and for the people who love you.
Yes, absolutely.
And I do find that it seems like almost everybody I've spoken to who has survived breast cancer lives a life in a lot of ways of service. You find that true, ladies? You
I think so.
do things for others because you have great compassion and you know what it's like to be in a hard spot,
Absolutely.
and you don't want somebody else to go through a hard spot alone.
Yeah. There's a greater appreciation for life as you know it and life as your family, your friends, whoever's around you know it.
Yeah. So you are married now.
Yes.
You're like, yes. And
Yes,
she got
I
this
am.
beautiful smile on her face. Like, yes. You could hear it in the microphone, couldn't you? So what do we want to tell people about? You were looking up some statistics.
Yes.
Because when you what did you have? You said it at some place that the statistics they showed, is it when the American Cancer Society comes out to present information
Yes.
to people?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
And a reminder of why they do what they do and why making strides, because it's more than just in Nashville, it's across the country.
Yes, it is.
So why that's important to donate, to do the walk with us. It's a big reasoning on basically what your money's going towards and what they're working towards in the terms of breast cancer research. So the stat that they talked to us about was approximately 319,000 people will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year.
This year.
Yes.
And I know you think, well, out of the whole country or whatever, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 319,000, like an individual person like you ladies,
Yep.
that person going through hell,
Yes.
and their families going through it, dealing with it, struggling with it, fighting it, not always winning,
Yep.
but fighting it. That's 319,000 times
Yep.
that individual struggle. And we want to cut that number.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Breast cancer also accounts for about 30% of all new female cancers each year. So again, I think as all three of us mentioned, the most important thing that we like to talk about or drive home is the importance of early screenings, prevention, doing your self-exams, because it really is the difference maker for saving your life. Is if you stay up on your doctor's appointments and your yearly mammograms, any other screenings that you can, it is night and day difference on getting your diagnosis if unfortunately that happens, or, formulating a plan to tackle it and take it on.
So when you found your lump, this is personal, how big was it?
Wasn't very big, probably about the size of like a pinball. But by the time I had done my breast MRI, which is a couple weeks before you start chemo, it had grown to be about the size of a quarter. So mine was fast growing. And that was why I had a wedding I was attending. So we pushed my treatment like 2 weeks back than what they would have normally started me on, so I could attend that wedding and as my normal self.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of urgency just with how fast growing the cancer was on starting the chemo so that we could kill it and start working on getting it out of my system.
And you said yours was hormone related?
Yes, mine was PR and ER positive, so progesterone and estrogen positive.
So what does that mean you have to do do you have to change your lifestyle somehow to not feed that
so
sort of?
I was put in what they call medical menopause, basically right off the bat. Chemo helps with that, but also I was taking ovarian suppressants really to make sure that my body was not producing estrogen, because that was part of what was fueling the cancer was the estrogen. So, and I even still now, I still take medication to basically hinder estrogen from continuing to help any cancer regrow.
Yeah.
So that was a lifestyle change in itself, because there's a lot of side effects that come along with that. And as, again, a 26, 27-year-old woman, I was not quite ready to be thrust into all of that. But again, to limit the risk of having cancer again or anything, growing back, it's well worth it.
Yeah.
And then lifestyle changes, I definitely, working out and eating right are two of the big adjustments I made. And I really try to limit alcohol consumption. I still do it. I'm guilty of it. I don't mind in moderation, but there's a lot of research showing just kind of how alcohol can affect cancer growth or
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I try to eliminate that when I can or as often as possible and just eat really healthy, take good care of myself every day so that it can be as strong and fight off whatever it needs to for the rest of my life.
I'm surprised that you did a self-exam at age 26 because I think there are probably a lot of 26-year-olds. Where did you learn to do that? I'm
Probably
curious.
health class. It wasn't nothing like crazy of an exam, but also my OBGYN, I've always been very vigilant about going for my yearly physical with my OBGYN, things like that. So they were a good reminder of just self-checks when you're in the shower or when you're laying in bed, something where you can just kind of knowing your body and knowing if something feels a little bit different, however that may be. That was a big thing on why I decided to do it, or I just randomly was trying to get comfortable and did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people don't have an OBGYN. They have maybe a primary care physician. I don't think I would have thought, well, I need to go to my OBGYN to check this out.
Yeah.
But is that first step? That or
I'm not
physician?
sure. I maybe physician. I didn't know who else to go to, and I knew that at my OBGYN, my yearly physical, they did a breast exam on me. So I called them just because I didn't know where else to go. I would think your physician or PCP would probably be a really good step too.
Yeah.
Really, I would think anybody that could get you in and tell you next steps on where you need to go, what we need to look at. But I would say probably OBGYN too, because mammograms and things like that as well, that's kind of their realm.
Right.
Additionally, their realm too.
So the American Cancer Society also has a lot of information. So if you know someone who has recently been diagnosed, would it be helpful to send them to the American Cancer Society website?
Absolutely. There's tons of resources, tons of statistics, and just different information that can help you with understanding what you're going through, what other people have gone through. And they include some survivor stories as well, which is really important to hear and see other people's experiences so that you know you're not alone in this and that other people fight it and it's something that they can get through. So it's a great resource. It's a great organization. So definitely getting connected with them or just looking at their website is a really good place to go.
AmericanCancerSociety.org or ACS.org?
I think it's acs.org.
ACS.org. For many years, I hosted the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. And one of the coolest parts of it, like people would be walking in honor of or in memory of someone, but then also there would be the survivors gathered in front of the stage. And we're like, 1-year survivor, 5-year survivor, 10-year survivor. And there'd be some lady going like, I'm a 30-year survivor.
Yes.
And everybody would cheer because it's like, yes, it is making strides. We're making strides. We're not at the finish line on this thing yet, but we're making steps in the right direction. And part of it is having that society.
Yes.
Having that reminder, like this lady beside me survived it. I just got started on this journey, but she might be able to tell me stuff that'll help me.
Definitely.
So it's a community, isn't it?
It is, and it's a great one at that.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say, Courtney, before we kind of wrap this part up?
The only other thing is if people are interested in joining us for the walk, it's October 11th at First Horizon Park. 8 a.m., I believe, is the start. And so all of us Faces of Hope will be there, and American Cancer Society as well. We'll have people there in attendance, and we would love everybody to join that wants to and could.
If somebody wants to come talk to you guys, are you open to that?
Oh, absolutely. We'll be up on stage at one point, I think. So you'll know just where to find us.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to put more information up on our Focus Facebook page. Okay, speaking of the walks and speaking of that tribe, that culture, that group, Nicole was over here like nodding her head. So you've been to the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walks?
I have.
What is it like?
Ooh, it's the energy level is so high. Everybody is dressed up in an array of different outfits. They look different. Some have skirts, some have hats, some have feathers. I mean, it's just amazing that all of those people take the time to come and do something really important. There's vendors. They have food. They have items. I mean, after the walk, they give you fruit, crackers, water. I mean, it is really amazing the number of people who come out to participate. I've been doing this for almost 15 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So how many hugs do you get?
I guess right now, this year, I might get a lot more than I've had before since I'm a face of hope. But it's just amazing to see the people, because everybody is not a survivor, but they're just there as their caregiver, people who've supported them throughout this whole process. So it is a lot of people, kids, adults, dogs, you name it.
I don't know if you were there that year, but you mentioned the survivor thing that I will never forget was being on stage, and we had a little bit of free time, and I said, would anybody like to come up and come up and talk to me for a minute? And they would come up and they'd share their story, like, I'm a 5-year survivor, or I'm here today in honor of my grandmother, or whatever. And then one little guy was standing at the side of the stage. He was an older gentleman, and he looked a little shy, but like he wanted to come up. And I said, sir, do you have something you want to say? And he did. He came up and he started crying. He said, I'm a survivor. My wife passed away. I survived it. I helped her, and I survived it too.
Right.
And it's like,
right.
We need to celebrate those people too.
Right.
Because it was their life involved as well. And
Absolutely.
we just get out there and hug on them and love on them and let them know that they're not alone. And when they see somebody that's walking in memory of, and they've got that same thing on their little tag that they get, they're not alone.
Right.
So you're going to be there this year.
I'm absolutely going to be there.
We're going to come hug the stuffings out of Nicole. Okay. And then Dominique, this is going to be your first year to go, you said? So we're going to get Dominique up, and I want to know now, what do you expect? And what do you expect to do?
I say yes. This will be my first time attending. Admittedly, not an early bird on Saturdays. But I'm very much looking forward to just being around people who get it. I think that survivors of anything are always a unique set of people. So being able to have the opportunity to be around so many people who get it, as well as so many people who are just supporters of the cause and have been, whether directly or indirectly, affected, just being in a space where everybody is going to be on one accord. Wow. So I'm looking forward to just the energy that comes with, we're all here for the same reason.
Yeah, and it's not the food.
Right.
Nicole mentioned the food like 3 times. I'm like, that must be some good food out there.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward, like I said, just like I said, looking forward to the energy, and I know it to be just a great day across the board. It's
going to carry you on for a while, isn't it? After you go.
Absolutely.
It always does. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again so much. So we had Courtney and Nicole and Dominique, and we're going to post lots of info on our Focus Facebook page and some links so you can get out there and be part of the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk. Make sure you join us again next week. I'm Anna Marie. That's Focus.